Welcome to the Tea Lifestyle Journal. I'm Donna Tokugawa, one of the tea docents here at Teadocents, and in this segment we're going to be brewing small leaf Japanese teas. We're going to take a look at a fukumushi, which is actually a sencha tea with a little bit of the stem included in it. It's extra steamed. You may never have seen a fukumushi here in North America because, quite frankly, not many of them are imported. This is a sencha, a very small, tight sencha, again a very premium sencha, and a gyokuro. Gyokuro is the tea that they actually cover during its growing process. You'll notice how it's picked up a bit of a blue shade along with that deep green. They pull some of the chlorophyll is very rich. It pulls some of the nutrients from the soil, and this is the tea that they actually use to create matcha. But for today, we're going to brew the gyokuro as a gyokuro, really the finest loose leaf tea in Japan today. Japan actually uses more tea than they can grow, and so they're actually a country that imports more than they export, which explains why it's difficult sometimes for us to find really premium Japanese teas outside of Japan. So in order to brew our tea today, we're going to be using a cooling vessel, our kyushu, our serving vessel, and then of course our teacups. Now I'm going to use an electric decanter to dispense my hot water. Certainly not required, but makes it very handy. If you choose not to use a hot pot, you could boil your water on the stove to just below boiling. That's going to get you just about right, 195 degrees. It's very hot to the touch. From the cooling pot, I'm going to pour directly into my kyushu. This is actually accomplishing two things. I'm cooling my water and I'm also warming my vessel. And from my teapot, I'm going to pour just simply hot water from the teapot directly into my teacups. And all I'm accomplishing here is I am cooling the water. I'm also measuring exactly the right amount of water I'm going to need. And then I'm going to take it from my teacups right into my serve pot. So I've warmed my cups and I'm cooling my water. The biggest mistake when we brew Japanese tea that we make is we use water that is too hot and we actually burn the leaves. This is particularly true when we're talking about a tea like a gyokuro that is very, very fine leaves. It's only harvested once a year, and so it's really very premium tender leaves. So we don't want to burn them. This is a 3-gram teaspoon, which is very handy in measuring the tea for this. And a kyushu this size is really going to take about 1.5 spoons. So very easy to use a pre-measured 3-gram spoon. Now you should experiment with this and determine exactly how strong you like your tea, but 3.5 to this size vessel is really what I like. Now the kyushu is warm, my teacups are warm, and my water is still a little bit warm. I can feel it by touching it, so I'm going to let it continue to cool here. And until you actually have the touch for this, you might want to use a thermometer. We're shooting for 160 degrees, which I can now tell we're right there. You will come to know this feel as soon as you're holding it. It's very warm. It's certainly not hot. Now, as soon as I pour the water into my kyushu, I'm going to take my timer with the 1 minute facing me, my 135-minute timer, and I'm going to turn it immediately. So I'm going to pour the water in, even with a little bit of it aerating in. It's very nice. And I'm going to turn my timer and cover my lid. Just that simple. I'm going to watch it because what I'm shooting for is 30 seconds. The longer it brews, the more astringent it will become. Astringent not to be confused with bitter. Astringent is actually that very nice, clean, dry feeling in your mouth, and I can see I'm right there now. I'm going to start decanting it into my serve pot. Now, the Japanese palate really enjoys fine Japanese teas a little more astringent than the American palate, which is why I'm suggesting a 30-second brew. If you infuse it for 45 seconds, you're going to pick up a little more astringency, and that's really an acquired taste and may become your preference as you drink more and more Japanese teas. Now, because I'm in a serve pot, I can easily go directly into any of my teacups and pour them just directly, filling one teacup after another. But if you don't have a serve pot, you could pour directly from your kyushu, but in doing so, you're going to need to pour very quickly, and you would pour in an alternating manner where you fill each cup a little bit and come back and fill that cup again. Again, the teas brew very quickly, and so from the time it takes you to pour in the first cup into the last cup, you will end up with a very different first and last cup of tea. That's why a serve pot is really very nice to use to ensure that you have that consistent tea. If you take a look at the liquor of this tea, it's a very nice light green. It's a very astringent tea, as I said, a very premium tea. It's very cool at this point, at probably about 150 degrees. It has a wonderful aroma and very easy to sip immediately at this temperature. It's very delicious. It's a very sweet but grassy tea. Now, if you go back and take a look at those brewed leaves inside your kyushu, they're still beautiful. Look at that. A premium Japanese tea such as this, a gyokuro of this quality, should be reinfused 4 or 5 times. And certainly the flavor will change, but it will remain quite nice. You may even enjoy some of the later cups more. Just depends as you go along. Once you have reinfused several times, and certainly not a moment too soon, you'll want to take your tea out of the kyushu with this handy little scraper and put it right into your tea dryer. Because I'm going to show you later what you can do with these wonderful leaves beyond the cup. There certainly is a whole lot of life left for them. So that's really just that simple, to brew a nice cup of Japanese small leaf tea and enjoy Japanese tea at its finest. I hope this segment has been helpful, and we look forward to seeing you again soon when we are going to brew a karegane, a medium loose leaf tea, and in our next segment. We'll see you then. Thank you.